Well, it's part 3 here and here on Leading Our Own with Tracey Di Ciero. I'm messing up my voice today. It's like midnight. I'm recording this. I do too much, but I love it. Anyway, here we go. Today's segment, though, is a game changer. Because after learning about her diagnosis and treatment journey, we're now exploring the pivotal moment where survival transformed into her empowerment. She's doing incredible things. You've got to listen to the first part to understand how she's leading her own way too. It's amazing. What happens when you decide to use your pain, and we all do it, and how do you help others heal? If you're doing it, please comment as well. Tracey's revelation about the power of storytelling and connection will shift your perspective on life's challenges. Don't miss tomorrow's episode, where we'll uncover how she turned her experience into a mission. Come back for more. Here's Tracey. There was a really significant moment that changed when you nearly drowned at the age of 2, didn't you? How has this early brush, I suppose, with mortality really shaped your perspective on life since then? I mean, I know you're only young, so it's probably a bit of a deep question from a 2-year-old's perspective. But going forward, do you think that played a part in worrying about the journey? Or, I mean, well, how much of an impact was that on you? Because you've said to me before in the pre-chats that you actually remember that day.
I don't remember falling into the water, but I remember being pulled out of it and sitting on my mum's cousin's lap, wet, wrapped up in a towel and having a biscuit. And I didn't remember anything about being underwater, but apparently when they were walking, it was a big family gathering, a lot of our relatives had come down to see us, and so we're having a bit of a reunion and walking along the creek. And I was towards the back of the line, and I must have slipped and went in. And my mum tells me the story that the water was really dark and I was pulled out by my hair. I don't know that I don't know whether I was, but I remember being pulled out of the water. I don't remember being too upset about it. I don't know why, but I think looking back now, the significance of that is probably more so because I realised, wow, my life could have changed entirely. I might not have been here to tell the tale at this point. And so just made me appreciate life, because just looking back, there's been different significant moments in my life that have had an impact. And
I've got a picture here of you. Was this the actual day of you in the water?
Yes, that was the day they pulled me out and wrapped me in a towel, and I think I've got a biscuit, have I, or something?
You've got, you have. And
a drink and a bit, maybe a drink and a biscuit or something.
I don't know if the drink of water was the best choice. Sorry, maybe inappropriate, I don't know. In your early life, you attended 4 different primary schools.
4 different primary schools, yeah.
Due to your father's job change, is that right?
Yes.
How did this constant change influence, I suppose, your ability to adapt and build resilience? Because we're focused on that word resilience. How did that influence your ability to adapt and build on that?
Well, it was interesting because I think that in a couple of the changes, they were for 2 years. So I was there a bit longer than one of them was just 1 year. I think I learned to cope with change. But in the same token, there were obviously gaps. So I was missing bits and pieces and lacked a little bit of confidence in terms of some aspects of my education. And towards the end of primary school, I had an auntie that said, hey, let's just fill those gaps. I'll help you and we'll support you and brush up on those little areas where you weren't so confident. And I'd always wanted to be a teacher, as you know. So doing that and having that support then made me realise, hey, I'm capable. I can do this. I'm able to. It had closed doors. I thought all these doors had been closed because I'd had trouble in certain areas of my education, bits that I'd felt I'd missed and lacked a little bit of confidence in. But once I had that support, it empowered me to say, you can do this and you're going to help other people, so that you don't have children out there that are feeling the same way, that they can't do something. So that was part of it, was for self-esteem. I really was passionate about helping others to cope with the changes and learn to be resilient, and yes, you can do it. with support. Yeah, just
Yep.
keep going, keep pushing through.
And I think we lack that now as well in modern society. We don't allow our children. I spoke about this with the neuroscientists on the podcast, and we don't allow our children to struggle anymore. And I think when we don't allow our children to struggle, we're it's really only building our self-esteem because we're giving them the answers and it's making us feel better. Where we've really got to look at building their self-esteem, which means holding back, allowing them to struggle with a safety net. And I mean, I don't mean in that water sense, you just let them go. Obviously, if it's life-threatening, you save them, of course. But, you know, in schools, at home, let them struggle. Let them struggle with safety. Let them sit in it for a little bit longer, a little bit more moment. You know, if they can't find something, we'll go and look. You make that piece of toast. You're going to come shopping with us, and we're not going to hand you a device just to fill in spare moments. You're going to be present with us, and you're going to be focused. And, you know, I have so many people, children in schools that can't find a pencil. Well, oh, hold on, I'm the guest in this room. I don't know where your pencils are. What do you think you need to do? Look. Well, there you go then. Go and look for a pencil.
It's so true. Problem solving, just what can we do? What do you want to learn about? What do we need to do to help you learn about that? What do you think we could do? Where could you find the answers and how could you do that? I think a lot of that is really important.
It really is. And it is problem solving, but that I feel that's the point after it, isn't it? You have to let them struggle in order to problem solve. If you don't let them, because problem solving is another one that's in the models in the education system and the curriculum. It'll save problem solving, but we're actually setting them up not to problem solve. We're actually setting them up to give them the tools to the answers, not allowing them to go through that messy middle, that struggle that word struggle I like to use. I really struggle with that. Kills me. But yeah, no, it's a really good point you make. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So it's something to think about for sure. Moving, because this was around the movement around, what was the job that your dad did for you to change so much?
Dad was doing a few different jobs, but mainly car sales.
Right.
Initially. He was doing a few other things as well along the way, but yeah, mainly car sales.
So this was around the time that your grandmother got ill, wasn't it? I suppose. Not far off. Because
Not far off, no.
You were 10 years old?
10 years old, yeah. Well, I think I remember being her companion from about a 10-year-old, at 10-year-old, yeah.
That companionship, that relationship then with your grandmother and her battle, I suppose, how can you share how that relationship and how her battle with cancer impacted your early understanding of health then?
Well, my understanding, when I went with her, I went with her on the train and sat in on her consultations. Obviously, there was a curtain drawn and I didn't really know what was happening, but I'd always say, "Are you okay, Nana?" "Yeah, we're okay. Let's go get some chocolate fudge from Daryl Lee." And so I didn't really know a lot, but as I witnessed her journey as she was becoming more unwell, the little things you notice as a child, that she was sleeping more or having trouble, had pains, I think that sort of, did impact towards the end. And then it made me reflect on being a witness of someone going through their own cancer, living with cancer journey, and then becoming a person living with cancer myself. Yeah. So impacting indirectly and then directly. So I felt like I was on both sides of the fence. So I got insight both sides of the fence. Yeah.
Do you? I don't know. I don't know if this is insensitive. I don't know, and I apologize if it is. But with that experience going through with your grandmother and seeing it firsthand, being in those hospitals, understanding those consultations, even those when I go to hospital, I think about the smells that they present to me, and so when I'm going in for myself, I'm like, oh, now I know what it feels like for those people I was helping my mum, because I went back to the UK when my mum had cancer, and I went to her. All of her chemotherapies every Friday for hers I think she went for 5 weeks, and I think that's the amount of times I went. And I think about her sitting there with the thing on her head and the drip or whatever it was, because I think she had a cold pack on her head because of the hair. I can't fully remember, but I remember something to do. I might be wrong, but it was breast cancer with my mother, and just seeing her sitting there, and she actually had the best spirit during that time. It was actually amazing because I didn't think my mum would cope, but she was the most positive I've ever seen her, if I'm being honest. I suppose with you, were you better? This is the insensitive part, but I wanted to put those extra details in. Do you think you were better prepared for your own journey with cancer and your own diagnosis?
I think every journey is different. So I have an appreciation that everyone's experience might be slightly different in ways. So I had an appreciation of what my grandmother went through. And then that sort of, I had similar journeys. So I'd go on the train and I'd go to the medical appointments. That was similar. But there are also differences. I think it was just being aware and just going with what was happening for me at the time, trying not to have too many preconceived ideas of what I would go through, but also talking to my doctors, my surgeons, my medical team that were looking after me. So I think that being aware of everyone's journey is different, but we all do have emotions that we have to deal with, and at different times, different impacts. So it depends what we're going through. So I have a bit of an open mind in that regard, because I think it's important to be aware that everyone's experience might be different. There might be some similarities, but it's important just to care for the person and also yourself, being aware. I know that when I was going through it, I'm aware of my own emotions, but I was very much wondering about everyone's emotions around me and trying to care for them. So,
Absolutely. What went through your mind, if I can ask, when you first discovered that? Because it was it a self? I think I remember you saying it was a
self-contained lump on the upper thigh. Yeah. I think when I was first told, I was sitting with. I took my sister-in-law. She's a nurse. I needed some moral support. Not that I'm going to get my biopsy results. I was anxious because I didn't know. It's probably the first biopsy that I've really had a major biopsy. So I took her in. And when I was being told, it was like she was being told. And it was sort of, it felt like hazy, misty, I'm not here sort of feeling that she was being told. And she's looking at me, trying to read my face. I could see her looking at me. I'm hearing the information, but it was like he was telling her. And then it wasn't until I got out of the room and leant on the door that it actually all hit me. I've got cancer. No, the thing that I'd been so anxious about for many years, I suddenly found myself facing. So, and I think over days, hours, everyone processes differently. It slowly sunk in. And then I was looking at finding information and finding other people that might have had a cancer like mine, looking for hope and support and things like that. So, yeah, it is a big shock.
Yeah.
When you hear that word, but...
Did you go through denial at all?
I think you go through for me, it felt like the process of grief. So, yeah, the denial, frustration, anger, why me, things like that. And then, sadness. And then I felt like strengthening myself. Okay, I'm going to do this. Everyone is doing things to help me cope, to get through, to support me on the healing journey and what I needed to do. So then the acceptance and going with the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually wrote something in my book. Don't know if you want to hear.
Absolutely, of course I do. How can I say no to that?
I wrote something, and this is just a little thing. Excuse me while I put my glasses on.
Yeah, for sure.
So I can read. I wrote about it, and this is what I wrote. I called it Surrender.
Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.